Welcome back to the poker vlog. This is episode number 231. For this one, we're playing a 5-5-10 match a stack game at the Lodge in Austin, Texas. But the games out there, they get massive quickly, so it's not exactly what you'd think with a $10 big blind game. I've been both looking forward to putting out this episode for a while and also dreading it, but this is just how poker goes. And so, I gotta share the good with the bad. Before we get started, I have one announcement to make, and that's we're doing just a crazy meetup game December 1st to kick off the WPT World Championship Series at WHERE in Las Vegas. That's gonna start at 10 a.m. Phil Ivey is gonna be there, Doyle Brunson's gonna be there. It's a chance to play with absolute legends of the game, and then me, Andrew, a couple other people from the WPT family, including Lynn Gilmartin, Vince Van Patten, Tony Dunst. So this is just a special event to kick off a special series with a $15 million guaranteed live tournament as the main event. So it's one of the just absolute coolest tournament series of the entire year, and really looking forward to it. I have more information in the description box below. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm in the midst of my first ever six-figure upswing. I'm having by far the best year of poker that I've ever had in both cash games and tournaments. I'm having a ton of fun playing. Just a few days after cashing in Bellagio's 5-diamond main event for over $22,000, I wake up at 4 a.m. in order to catch a 6:30 a.m. flight to Austin so that I can play a 5-5-10 match a stack game. The hotel doesn't have my room available for me to check in and take a nap. I basically go straight to the Lodge and try to push through. I get $5,000 worth of chips to start, though the initial max buy-in is set at $2,000. Since it's a match a stack format, I anticipate that most players will be adding on as often as they're able to in the beginning. There are a few familiar faces in the lineup, including a player named Efan, who I've battled with quite a few times.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Try to lose a session, okay?
Good to see you. I'm not going to try and do that. I've had some rough sessions on stream in January at the Lodge, but I haven't lost on any stream in the 9 months since then. I've run well, having several of my biggest wins, including one in which I profited $48,000 with Phil Ivey on my left. Efan is hoping to put an end to my streak. In addition, Doug Polk is in the lineup, and so is Big Daddy Chaz. He's always very willing to splash around to create action-packed streams. There will certainly be no shortage of big hands today. The very first hand, Efan gets a double up through a player named Rhonda, which allows everyone else at the table the opportunity to add on and double the amount of chips in their stacks as well. We take advantage of that, then add on for even more before the 14th hand of the day when we pick up Ace-King offsuit in the third blind. Efan is straddled to 25, it folds to us, I raise to 100. Efan happens to have a real hand with pocket tens in what's essentially a blind versus blind showdown. Efan knows that he's going to be way ahead of plenty of holdings that I'd raise with from our position. He 3-bets at 250. I'm actually at the top of my range. From my history with Efan, I know that he's capable of making light 3-bets. He won't be getting away with one here if he's attempting to make a move. I put in the 4-bet to 700. I'm representing mostly monsters like aces, kings, queens, jacks, and some ace-king and ace-queen combos. All of a sudden, tens probably aren't looking quite as strong as they might have been previously. Efan is getting a relatively good price. He calls in position for 450 more. We're heads up in a big pot. Effective stack sizes are only about 2.5 times what's already in the middle. If we don't flop a pair, it could get tricky for us. The flop comes 9-6-3 with 2 clubs. We miss, but it's a flop that may not connect too well with Efan's 4-bet calling range. Fairly often, Ace-King will still be the best hand. I downbet to 500 to see if we can take it down. I may bet this amount with aces or kings, which we have removal for as well. The $500 bet doesn't do the trick. Efan raises to 1700. In my experience with Efan, he tends to raise when he doesn't have that much. Having ace-king makes it a lot less likely that I'm up against pocket aces or kings. If Efan had a set, I don't think he'd necessarily raise right now. He would have had to have 3-bet me, then called a 4-bet with either 9s, 6s, or pocket 3s. I'd expect him to just flat my initial preflop raise with those pairs an overwhelming majority of the time. I anticipate him having air pretty regularly, sometimes a flush draw that we'll be ahead of as long as it doesn't contain a 9, or at worst, we'll have 2 overs to a pocket pair like 10s, jacks, or queens. We'll have around 25 to 30% equity. I've shown strength the entire way up to this point. I don't like folding. I don't really like calling. I stick with the story that we've got a premium pair, and I shove for almost 4,000 effective. It's basically a semi-bluff. We don't get a snap decision from Efan, which I'm okay with. Pocket 10s is drawing extremely slim against an overpair, and is even slightly behind a hand like ace-king or ace-queen of clubs. Despite playing E-Fan several times in the past, I've never attempted any elaborate bluffs like this one against him. Normally, when I made aggressive plays, I've had it. Ultimately, E-Fan has already put too much money in to fold for the price he's getting. He calls. I don't like it.
It's not good for me.
$9,000 pot here. Can E-Fan fade an ace or a king?
We're going to need to hit an ace, king, or runner club for the flush. We're running it once. The turn is the 4 of spades. It's no help. We're down to 6 outs, or I'm going to lose a pot over $9,000 right at the beginning of the session. The river is the 10 of diamonds, giving E-Fan top set to crush my soul. I'm not too happy with myself for the outcome of this hand. It's always much better to get into a groove early on in the session. Not only do I lose, but I get caught with my hand in the cookie jar, making it less likely that I'll get away with bluffs going forward. I add on for a few thousand more, then we agree to play the stand-up game. If you win a hand, you get to sit down. The last person standing loses and has to pay everyone else at the table $75. After an orbit of losing hands, I pick up ace-7 offsuit in the small blind. I raise to 100, hopefully to earn my seat back. Rhonda and I are the only 2 players left standing, so it's important that I win to avoid paying a hefty tax. E-Fan likes seeing my lanky giraffe self standing up. He 3-bets to 350 with jack-4 offsuit. I told you that he's capable of 3-betting me light. An ace is a pretty high card, plus we need to get revenge. I call. We're heads up, out of position. The flop comes king-9 deuce with 2 spades. We don't connect except we have 1 over and a backdoor spade draw. I check. E-Fan keeps his foot on the gas with a bet of 325. I'm thinking of ways that we can win this. I call with intentions of bluffing big on the turn and or river if another spade comes out. The dealer puts out the 5 of diamonds. I can't follow through with my devious plans. I check. I'll just give up if we face another bet. E-Fan doesn't shut down. He bets 1,500. There's nothing that I can do now that the opponent has made more than a pot-sized bet. I fold. E-Fan shows that he wrecks my world one more time.
Kick 4, baby! Exact same suit!
E-Fan getting excited today. Brad doesn't find that too funny.
You're lucky that Robbie made that.
I'm the blocker and I'm I don't remember what I had, but I definitely had a blocker there.
If the turn was a spade, you were in big trouble.
Not a great start to the day. We're 40 hands in and I haven't won a significant pot yet. I doubled up E-Fan and he bluffs me with air while I'm on the brink of losing the stand-up game. 2 hands later, Rhonda finds something playable. The straddle was on for 25. Rhonda raises to 225. I can't risk letting her win her seat if no one behind me wants to call. I call with ace-deuce offsuit in the cutoff. E-Fan is on the button with 7-5 of hearts. He calls. A player named 777 is in the small blind and is set up perfectly to squeeze. He 3-bets to 850. The small blind could be doing this with a variety of weak or medium strength holdings to scoop up several $100s from people with presumably weak ranges. Rhonda folds. Occasionally, I'll flat pre-flop raises with really strong hands as a trap in instances similar to this one, when I have players behind me like E-Fan who are regularly 3-betting with a wide variety of holdings, especially in an effort to prevent players from sitting down. Perhaps the small blind feels like it's his turn to prevent either Rhonda or me from sitting down, and maybe put in a light 3-bet himself. I've got removal for aces. As long as I'm not up against that specific hand, I should minimally have 3 outs 5 times. I've never lost a stand-up game. I don't want to lose it now. I take a stand in an attempt to sit with a back 4-bet jam for just over $5,000. I'm not worried about E-Fan. He folds. We're going to put the small blind to the test though.
Let's go, bro!
All in.
Great move.
Oh geez. I would prefer that E-Fan not say great move at the end so that the thought that I'm making a move isn't at the forefront of the small blind's mind. It doesn't matter too much though. The small blind has a strong hand and my line obviously looks suspicious. The small blind isn't going anywhere.
I call.
And the call and
Oh
out.
my goodness.
We have 1 left.
Triple 7.
Oh, he's up out of his seat. He's excited.
This man really likes once.
Once.
Twice.
777's begging for 2 times. Brad says once. Can he spike a deuce?
Everyone really
$11,000 pot.
I feel bad. I care. That's a 4. It's 10.
Oh, wheel draw. Deuce for a 5.
Oh my goodness.
We have a sweat.
It's a pretty good flop for ace deuce. We have almost 30% equity with 7 outs that'll give us either a pair or a straight. I'm feeling good about it. The turn is another 3. It's not a bad card because now we'll chop if the board pairs again. This is nearly an $11,000 pot. I would definitely be okay with getting my money back, plus a little more. The river is the 8 of spades. We're not going to get half the pot or any portion of it. I told you earlier that my bluff attempts weren't going to get through as easily after getting caught making a move with ace king. Now that I've been caught twice, including once with this particularly ambitious play, I really won't be able to get away with bluffs in the future. To be honest, I'm just exhausted, don't have much patience at the moment, don't want to get bluffed again after already getting bluffed by Jack 4. I don't want to lose a stand-up game, and would like to give the viewers who are rooting for me something to cheer about. I forced a situation that under normal circumstances I certainly wouldn't have done, and it cost me a car. I'm clearly not playing my best, and I'd ordinarily leave a session like this one in order to catch up on sleep, but I don't want to depart early from the stream. I add on for another several thousand, even though I'm today's biggest loser so far. A few hands later, there's no straddle on, we're just playing 5-5-10, yet Ronda opens at 250 with king-queen offsuit from the button. If I fold and E-fan folds behind me, I'll have to pay $525 out. I'm in a predicament. This game has already cost me multiple thousands of dollars, so perhaps I should just give up. I can't do that. King 3 is a stuck man's aces. I'm not letting go. I call. E-fan has a playable hand. He calls as well. We're out of position, going 3 ways to the flop. It comes 6-5 deuce rainbow. We've got a straight draw with 1 over. Checks to Ronda. She really doesn't want to lose. She bets 400 with complete air. She actually has the best hand though. I don't expect to get any credit with a bluff, so I should just cut my losses and fold, particularly with another player behind me. I don't have it in me. I could have plenty of strong hands after calling a pre-flop raise, plus I have removal to the straight. I pulled the trigger once more with a high variance check raise to 1300. E-fan has a gutter ball as well. It's not enough for him to hang around. He folds. Ronda snap folds are king high. If you win your seat back, you have to show what you won with, so I turn over the semi-bluff. My immaculate stand-up game record remains intact. It only cost me a small fortune to keep it that way. Well worth it though. But also not really. A pot finally goes towards us and we're on the comeback trail. With the double straddle on for 50, we pick up Pocket Jiggity's first to act in the hijack. I raise to 125. E-fan has the worst pocket pair in the world. He calls a set mine and make my already terrible session even terribler. Ronda wakes up in the $25 straddle with pocket kings. That's unfortunate for us. Ronda 3-bets to 525. This is the best starting hand that I've had all day. It's a premium, but there's an indication that it's currently behind. It's still too early to fold. I call. E-fan isn't going anywhere. He also calls. We're going 3 ways at the flop looking for one or more of Jack's brothers, who are also named Jack. The dealer puts out 9-7-4 rainbow. We don't hit a set, but we've at least got an overpair to the board to ensure that my stack gets completely decimated. Relentless Ronda bets 1200. We've already seen her c-bet with air in a multi-way pot before. She may be more inclined to bluff now that she's lost the stand-up game and saw me bluff her with king 3. She's just not the only person that I have to worry about. E-fan could definitely have a low to medium pocket pair that improved to a set after calling my initial raise and then the 3-bet to close the action. Still, I can't fold right now. I call hoping that E-fan folds because I'm equally concerned about what he's got. Thankfully, the squirrely opponent folds his ducks, it's down to heads up, and we're in position. The turn is the Queen of Hearts. That appears to be a bad card, but given the fact that we can see that Rowdy Ronda has kings, perhaps it's a blessing in disguise, especially because Ruthless Ronda rips it in for 6,500 effective. Jiggities have never looked worse. This is a super strange move from the opponent. I'm trying to make sense of it. If Ronda had a hand like aces or kings, a queen on the turn is terrible for her because I wouldn't have floated the flop with a hand like ace-queen with E-fan behind me. Jacks and tens can't really call a shove, so there aren't any hands that she'd get value from by jamming. The only hands that aces or kings will get called by, given how this has been played so far, is a set. I don't think that she would have jammed with a set of queens either. There's not much that aces or kings need to protect against except for the heart draw, because I can't figure out a value hand that would make sense for the opponent to shove with for over 1.5 times the size of the pot. I'm wondering if Ronda is attempting to make a move of her own and show that she's not afraid to get a little wild. I just can't put together what she's trying to accomplish with this bet unless she has a heart draw and is trying to get a semi-bluff through, or perhaps just a pure bluff with ace-king. I'm confused, and I level myself into a call. I see that I'm way behind and drawing almost dead as Radical Ronda flips over pocket kings. I need a red jack, otherwise I'll lose my third all-in of the day. The river is another 9. I lose one more huge pot in a situation that I should have been able to get away from. If I was more familiar with now really rich Ronda, I could have easily folded. Instead, I'm getting completely lit up. A bunch of starving children in Africa have entered the stream chat asking how they can donate money or other necessities to me because they feel bad. I still don't want to get out from the stream because I feel like things have to turn around at some point. Although my biggest loss ever was $12,000 in the same Monday match a stack game, my first time playing on the stream at the lodge. I was actually down around $26,000 at the low point during that session, and I came back to recoup over half of it. I was also down $30,000 3 hands into a streamed 100-200 session just a few days later, and I came back to only lose $2,000. Even though the graphics are showing that I'm down $19,000, if I reel it in and play my best, with a little luck, maybe I can make this loss more manageable and possibly get back to even. I add on, and the table wants to do the stand-up game one more time. 3 hands later, a player named Kevin raises to 75 from the hijack. I'm in the third blind with something decent. I call with pocket 3s. Efan is in the $25 straddle. He's got something similar. He calls for 50 more. We're going 3 ways to the flop out of position. We haven't hit a set all day. Can we hit one now? The answer is yes. The dealer puts out 6-4-3 with 2 hearts. We get set over set during the stand-up game on a ridiculous flop designed to maximize carnage. He checks to the pre-flop raiser. He doesn't have anything that he's comfortable betting with. He checks it back. The turn is the king of diamonds. It's a card that's good for the initial pre-flop raiser's range, especially after it checks through on a flop of all low cards. I check again for deception, thinking that the hijack is going to bet this. Efan isn't going to rely on the player behind him betting. He takes the initiative and bets 400 himself. The hijack folds. I figure Efan probably just has a king, or maybe he's bluffing again, like when he had Jack 4 offsuit against me. He wasn't afraid to double barrel with air in that hand, and his second barrel was over a pot-sized bet. I call here hoping that we can get a blank river, and Efan may make another massive bet, and we can come over the top with a raise. Little do I know, if that's what happens, I'm going to lose my 4th all-in. The river is a 7 of clubs. It's not a blank at all. I'm pissed that there are now 4 to the straight on board. I check. Efan immediately checks back. I see that on a day when I've lost 5 figures in ways that I shouldn't have, by some miracle, I lose the absolute minimum when I almost 100% should have gotten stacked.
Wow! Oh my goodness.
The table's stunned.
I think Efan has to do a lap. Yeah. Right? Just do a quick lap.
Lost the minimum, and Brad just cannot believe it.
Brad steamed up here, but Brad's got to pat himself on the back there for losing the absolute minimum on that hand.
Are you kidding?
I thought he was going to lose another 10K, especially in the stand-up game.
He lost the absolute minimum.
The absolute minimum. $400 on the turn goes check, check, river.
As much as I'd like to enjoy escaping a big loss, I'm still down about $20,000. I have no feel for the table at all, my image is terrible, I can't seem to find any good spots, and I've lost another pot. A few hands go by when we raise to 150 in the cutoff with ace-5 of hearts, while there's a double straddle on to 50. Mark is in the third blind with a mystery hand because he doesn't scan his cards. He calls, we're heads up in position, I'm looking to win my seat back, while Mark already is sitting. The flop comes Jack 7-6, all diamonds. Like Shaq at the free throw line, we brick another one. Mark checks. If he doesn't have a diamond and maybe doesn't even have a pair, perhaps he won't want anything to do with this pot. I make a very small bet of 75. Mark calls quickly. The turn is the 3 of diamonds, putting a 4th diamond on board. Mark immediately checks, and I check back. The river is the deuce of spades. It's a blank. Mark may or may not have the best hand. He's going to at least pretend like he's got us beat with a bet of 275. I'm not convinced that we're up against anything too strong. I may have played some big hands this way, like ace-king or ace-queen of diamonds, pocket aces with the ace of diamonds, and ace-jack with the ace of diamonds. I rep a monster with a raise to 800. I really hope that we don't run into an actual high flush. It seems like everyone just always has it against me. We don't get snap called. It doesn't appear that Mark is necessarily contemplating putting in a re-raise either. He takes a look at his hand, then as he's folding, he holds his cards high here. It looks like he's got a black ace and a black 7 for second pair. He lets it go. We have to show that we earned our seat back with nothing but ace high. Mark would later confirm that he had the best hand with a pair of 7s. After showing all these bluffs, coupled with the fact that I haven't won a single large pot while actually having the best cards, I'm set up well to get paid if I ever do have a big hand. The way things are going, I'm not sure it'll ever happen though. I know I've been running well for months, and sometimes you can just feel it in the air that it's not your day. The stand-up game ends, then Mark picks up another mystery hand. There's a straddle on for 25. Mark raises a 75 from the cutoff. I'm in the third blind with queen jack of diamonds. I call for 65 more. Efan defends his straddle for 50 more. We're going 3 ways to the flop out of position. It's 10-6-4 with 2 hearts and a diamond. We've got nothing except 2 overs and some backdoor draws. No one seems to have connected with it. We all check. The turn is the 3 of diamonds, giving us a flush draw. I like it. I can have all kinds of small pocket pairs that might have made a set, plus I can have some top pair hands. I bet 175. Efan folded before the chips hit the felt. The international man of mystery won't let me win a pot without a fight. He calls. It's down to heads up. The river is the 9 of diamonds, finally setting us up to get paid.
Flush gets there for Brad. Runner, so the run good's starting to happen.
I've been waiting for a situation like this, where we make a hidden big hand and can capitalize on our image of never having it, yet always betting. I'm going to go with a big sizing to punish a non-believer. I make it 800. I just bluffed Mark with ace-5 of hearts. Now I've got it, and I'm betting the same amount. Mark isn't willing to call. No. He raises to 1900. It doesn't feel like a bluff, but I'm never folding. I snap call. We don't have the winner.
What? What is Mark's hand? King high?
That's kind of a bad beat for you in a way, that it was only the second nuts versus the third nut.
King high flush, Rick.
Oh my God.
Right, Efo, was that
Runner, diamonds. Just when we were saying Brad's run bad was over, and he could see the light, he gets put back down into the ground, buried. Queen high flush on runner, diamond, no good. King high flush for Mark. You can't be serious.
Oh my God.
I'm not familiar with that location.
King high flush beat the queen high flush, folks. We did not see the cards, but the players did. The dealer did, and Brad saw him.
So you play with E5? Yeah, quite a bit. Oh, okay.
Never seen this much run bad in a while, honestly. On stream, Brad has had some very, very strong hands.
Who's been there before? Who has been there on the table?
It's a dark place to be.
Where the light at the end of the tunnel is an oncoming train.
I've had some rough sessions before, but nothing quite like this. It's as if all the run bad that I've been avoiding the last several months has been saved up to get me today on stream while thousands are watching, and it's at the card club that I'm part owner of. I feel humiliated. My girlfriend is watching this live. I can't imagine the comments that she's seeing in the chat about me. I've been promoting this cash game course that I'm a part of that just came out, talking about how I'm doing really well thanks to the coaching that I've been receiving from Nick Petrangelo. And then here I am having what will probably be the biggest loss of my life. I'm dejected, and I feel like I'm getting continuously hit with haymakers from all sides. I didn't anticipate this being as large of a game as it ended up being, so I didn't sell any action for it. This loss is completely on my own. A long period of time goes by with very little occurring at the table. I want to at least bring back the energy to give viewers of the stream a show. For the first time in my life, I say...
You guys want to play the stand-up game, or...? Another stand-up game? I feel like we got to do something.
Kevin makes the bet.
Up the energy a little bit.
Takes down another pot.
Okay. One last stand-up game. One last one.
We agreed to do the stand-up game one last time. This one will be for a little bit more. The loser will have to give everyone at the table $100 each instead of $75. The graphics show that I'm down $22,000. I think this is the first time that they've ever been incorrect in a way that's helped me out. I believe that I'm actually down about $24,000. It's double what my biggest loss ever is up to this point. Just 3 of us are standing, and I realize that I've never picked up any strong starting hands while playing the stand-up game. I get the sense that that's going to change. If you listen closely, you hear me say,
I feel like I'm going to get something good.
TM?
Yeah, I don't get the sense that I'm going to pick up a big hand and win today. We've already established that it isn't my day. Big Daddy Chaz is straddling for $500 at the moment, so this isn't your average 5-5-10. I've got a real shot and maybe making $5,000 to $10,000 back if I start running well. With only Mark and I standing, 777 raises a 75 from under the gun +1 with pocket sixes. Mark has ace-5 offsuit in the cutoff. He puts in the 3-bet to 425. While all hope for the session appears to be gone, while I'm contemplating retiring from poker and finding a nice place to live in Antarctica, I take a glance at my cards and I see pocket kings in the third blind. I've been waiting the whole session for something like this to happen. The situation is teed up perfectly. We've got the second best starting hand in poker while playing the stand-up game against only one other person who just 3-bet, and I've been getting it in light all day. After already getting caught 4-bet jamming pre-flop or piles with ace-deuce offsuit earlier, the setup is ideal for me to 4-bet rip it in again for a massive amount, only this time with a monster. We let it fly.
All in announced for his remaining 6,000.
E-Fan is hoping that he gets something strong. He has one ace, but his other card is a fake ace. He won't be calling.
That was so cool.
Oh, everyone really cares. I'm sure that they're both very interested in what you have there.
Mark has been running like the sun today.
What you got?
About 660.
Mark's about to call this off with ace-5 off. He's going to be dominated 6, 7, 8 million different ways, and you don't tell me he's going to bink an ace.
So close.
It's not really that close if it's ace-5 offsuit.
I'm doing my best to look like this is just another one of my suspicious plays. I want to call badly. If I win, I'll get a double up and make today's loss a lot less severe. If I lose, I'll be put out of my misery and I'll be going back to the hotel. After over a minute and a half, Mark finally makes a decision.
Brad with the worst session of his life.
Oh my God!
I mean, there's no way I win this one. I'm not going to rebuy if I lose this one.
Brad says there's no way I'm winning this one. 12.4 in the middle here. A nice chance to get some money back.
I said that I was going to get a good hand and lose. I said that before.
We're going one time.
Brad sees the boogeyman underneath his bed. They're running it one time.
I'm going to either be down 18,000 with a win or 30,000 with a loss. The good news is that there are only 2 aces in the deck left for Mark to hit.
Oh! The ace!
That's fucking sick.
Oh my God.
GG, guys.
Brad waving the white flag. Retreat, retreat, surrender.
Let me know if I win.
He's already leaving.
One more lever. Yeah.
GG, Mr. Owen. We thank you for coming home. Salt in the wound. Another ace of diamonds on the river.
How hot is Mark? Call 6,000 with ace-5
I thought he
offsuit.
was making a play with margin like Jack King.
Mark trying to justify his call. Just collect the chips. The man is a god today, a poker god. It's seat number 3, and that's going to do it for Brad's night, Rick. He can't take it anymore.
Oh my God.
Just got torched. Biggest loss ever, $30,000. So biggest loss by 2.5 times. The previous one, which was 12,000, played bad, ran bad, and got completely wrecked. Didn't even, I'm done playing poker for the day. So I'm out of here. You may have heard Doug yelling my name in the background as I film my post-game wrap-up. That's because there's something that I forgot about in the midst of the Pocket Kings versus Ace-5 offsuit hand.
Hey, Brad!
Oh my God. Doug.
Brad! You lost the stand-up. I'll get everybody.
Oh my God.
No, you can't.
The graphics were once again generous. I lost $30,000 playing and an extra $700 for losing the stand-up game for the first time ever. Doug pays everyone out for me, and I'll pay him back after I post to Instagram that I got destroyed and walk back to the hotel to blow off steam before sleeping for 15 hours straight. People can say that I'm making tons of money from the lodge overall, and while it's true that the lodge is doing well, we're reinvesting every dollar that we make back into the room right now and don't plan to take any distributions for a long time, so a $30,000 loss hurts me a lot. I also just hate to lose. I hate to play bad, and I tend to be pretty hard on myself. Usually I take some time off, but while I'm in town, I want to see and play with as many people as possible. I hop into a 1-2 game the very next day, and I get it all in with Pocket Kings again. This time, they hold against Jack-10 offsuit after we got all the money in on a 9-8-8 flop, and they completely redeemed themselves. The previous loss with Kings is now a distant memory. We win a pot of nearly $200. All we need is to win several hundred more pots just like this one for us to get back what we lost. For as big of a loss as that one was for me on the stream, it's important to remember that I'm still up over $100,000 this year from playing poker alone. I'm still having the best year of poker that I've ever had. I've gotten myself in plenty of substantial downswings in the past, and I've always recovered. Plus, I knew that my biggest loss was coming since that's just the nature of playing much bigger games than I've been playing in previous years. I'm actually lucky to not have had a loss that big earlier on. I play a few more sessions at the lodge and chip away at the deficit a few $100s at a time. There's nothing that motivates me more than getting out of a downswing. This one may just take longer to get out of than any of my previous downswings since it's by far the largest. Or maybe it won't take much time at all.
So we are down to our final 9. Daniel Lee, Brad Owen, Casper Piotrowski, Shingo Levine, Richard Lee, Ben Middleton, David Malka, Sashimi, and Amir Marmar. They fight for a first place prize of more than $175,000 when we come back at the Storm X Invitational 2.
That's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe buttons. We're still a ways off, but I think it would be really cool if at some point I got to 1 million subscribers, and I can't do that without your help. So please hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know in the comment section. I'm happy to get back to you. This session, I just got absolutely torched. I think there were a variety of factors. One, I was just really exhausted. I had actually been up all night the night before working on another video of me playing on the lodge live stream, and then I mentioned I had to get up early, fly out there, and ordinarily if I'm not feeling well, if I'm tired and I'm in Las Vegas, then I just won't go in that day, or I'll work on a video. But when you make a special trip out there to play on a stream, you can't really do something like that. So I played, just didn't play well in the beginning, got wrecked, and then I started running bad later on in the session. Usually it's kind of flip-flopped, where you have something that doesn't go your way, you get a little frustrated about it, and then you start playing bad. But not the case here. And for me, I'm just really competitive, so I like to win. I get annoyed when I lose, and the good thing about that is usually when I'm in a downswing, it motivates me to put in a lot more hours at the poker tables and get out of the downswing. That's what I've done in the past, and I figured it would take a long time for me to get 30,000 back. But as I kind of alluded to at the end of this episode, there is a big score coming up next video, which happened just a couple days after this session when I lost 30,000. So very excited to share that with you guys. Be on the lookout for it. Also, be sure to come out to that December 1st meetup game with Doyle Brunson and Phil Ivey and a lot more people from the WPT family. I have more information in the description box below. Also, starting today, you can get 25% off all Upswing courses as part of the Black Friday sale. So this is an odd time to pitch or to let you guys know this, but it's the best time to get that Smash Live Cash course that I was a part of. I know I lost over $30,000 in this episode, so but I promise you there's some good things in there, and still having an amazing year. I'm looking forward to sharing all the stats with you guys for 2022 in a January video. Anyway, hope you're doing well, hope you're staying safe. Good luck at the tables, and I'll see you next time.